name is KIYRA LYNN with Hollywood First Look Features, and today, virtually, Stephan James is with me to talk about his series, Homecoming. Stephan, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. They knew that they were going to do season 2 pretty early on. So at what point did you know that you were going to be revisiting Walter Cruz for season 2?
You know, when I originally signed on to be a part of Homecoming, I had only signed on for one season. So, you know, much to my surprise and elation, honestly, when they asked me to come back to do a second season, I said yes, emphatically. You know, I felt like for me, there was so much that happened in that first season that I felt like I needed to tie up the loose ends of all the unanswered questions and all the curiosity, you know, that we were sort of left off with in that first season. So just couldn't be more proud to be a part of the second season.
I knew before I even signed on to do the first season that Audrey was going to come back in a major way in the second season. When I sat down to meet with Esmail and the writers, Micah, Bloomberg, and Horowitz, they told me that my character would seem pretty insignificant in the beginning. We only saw her as a lowly assistant to Colin Belfast, who's played by the great Cannavale. It wasn't until that very final scene where she really made a strong impression, and we get to find out how she came to be in that position in season 2. And one of the things that really surprised me in reading the scripts for the second season is that Audrey is not at all comfortable with what she's doing.
Cruz, you're not known to do a lot of TV, so to be able to sign on to do Homecoming, what was it about taking on Leonard that was like, you know, I'm gonna dedicate my time to doing this?
Well, it was a pleasure. It was having watched that first season and so many elements of it that I really appreciated. The scenes didn't seem to be rushed between actors. There was air. They were allowed to breathe. The atmosphere, the storyline, the soundtrack, the music that came with that series was I think a brilliant stroke to use previous production soundtracks. I heard Hitchcock in there, and it took me a little while to say, where have I heard these pieces before? And Coppola's From the Conversation. It was terrific. So then to find out that, you know, unfortunately Julia didn't carry on to the second season, they had to bring in some new story and new characters, and Geist was somebody they were looking for. So I just feel really fortunate to have been able to play the part.
I was a fan of the first season, fan of the first podcast. I knew if I were to read these scripts in this season, if they brought what I thought was special about the podcast in the first season into second season, it was going to be a yes for me. And once I read the season 2, I was just blown away. My expectations were exceeded. I think working with a dynamic director like Kyle, Patrick Alvarez, helped. You know, I really was a fan of his Stanford Prison Experiment film and the work he had done. And Esmail I was a fan of. And having Julia Roberts come on as executive producer, working with Hong, working with the amazing Stephan. Both those actors for me, you know, it was just going to be a treat. I just felt like this was going to be an outlier for TV. And after I saw the second season, that was confirmed.
Season 1, you had Julia Roberts, and season 2, you just have to tough it out with JANELLE MONÁE. What was it like working with her?
Incredible. What can I say? I've always been a fan of her as a musician. Met her a couple of times before. When I heard that she was cast in this part, I was just as excited as probably you were. She's awesome. She's a great person, a fantastic talent. I'm excited for people to get to see what she's done with this season.
It's been a really good year for you visually on that sort of format. You have Sex Explained, which I loved on Netflix.
Thank you.
Annabelle is coming out later this year. Talk to me about how you know, acting and being in front of the camera fulfills you creatively as opposed to what you do musically?
Sure. Well, you know, I grew up doing both my whole life, and I think music was the best way to enter into entertainment and into arts, because it's opened up a world. You know, I've been able to do short films attached to my music projects and world build there, and I think that is part of the reason why I got this role. The producers, you know, had saw what we had done over you know, the course of my music career with visuals, and saw, you know, that I had also transitioned over into to film, and I think that helped for sure. I think it's just such a part of my DNA, and now I just go on assignment wherever the universe tells me to go. That's where I go.
Homecoming is premiering on Amazon Prime, the second season on May 22nd. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate you.